Cherry for the campaign, Caroline Levitt. Caroline, thank you for coming on. And the congressman there, he said that he doesn't necessarily like all that FEMA is doing, but he pointed out that it's damaging the rumors that that is what is happening, the rumors that are circulating. And with regard to that, things that the former president has said is FEMA funds were stolen to be used to house illegal migrants, that no one from FEMA was on the ground in North Carolina, that funds were being withheld from Republican areas of the state on purpose. None of that is true. The head of FEMA says that worse than it not being true, it is dangerous that if this is pushed and circulated for the people who are most in need of help. With that knowledge, is the former president going to stop saying this?
Well, first of all, Kate, let me just express our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Western North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and now Florida, who are bracing for another devastating hurricane. The bottom line is that FEMA spent $1 billion on funding for illegal immigrants that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden let into the country. CNN and many mainstream media outlets reported that more than a month ago. Now, today, we find ourselves in a predicament where Americans are in dire situations in need of food and of water. And Secretary Mayorkas last week said that FEMA does not have sufficient funding to get through this crisis and through the rest of hurricane season.
But Caroline,
speaking of Secretary Mayorkas,
Caroline, I wanted. We just had Secretary Mayorkas on, but no. But first, on that, let's keep to the facts, which is on that suggestion that Donald Trump did make that they were stealing money from FEMA and using it, and it's all gone because they're using it to house migrants. That's not true. There's no disaster relief fund money that was going to house migrants.
I don't think the American people care which pocket the money came from. They do care that their tax dollars, $1 billion of their tax dollars, went towards housing migrants. That came from FEMA's funds. That is a fact. It is reportable, and it's very likely to assume that that money could have been reallocated to the disaster relief fund that now could be used to help our fellow Americans that are in need from these hurricanes. And I would like to finish my previous point, and I heard you had Secretary Mayorkas on the show. I hope that you asked him about why he was shopping at a luxury men's warehouse store last week in the midst of this crisis, or why Kamala Harris was fundraising in San Francisco when Hurricane Helene made landfall, and why Joe Biden was sitting on the beach. If President Trump had done that, there would be outrage, and there should be outrage at our current elected officials, leaders in office who were sitting on their hands when this hurricane was making landfall on the United States. There was
Caroline,
a
I did ask the secretary.
6 days to deploy troops.
I did, Caroline. I did. That's what I'm trying to say. I did ask him about that. He said he was actually in Los Angeles recognizing the work of employees of the Department of Homeland Security that are part of what we're talking about here. But let me ask you something. This is quite so. What I've heard, what you're now saying is that you think it is. You don't think American people care where the money comes from. You think it is bad that they're using FEMA money to house migrants. Ironically, Donald Trump attempted something very similar to what he falsely now is claiming about them. In 2019, Trump used let me finish. Trump used money from FEMA's disaster fund for migrant programs at the southern border. He told Congress that he was intending at the time in 2019 to shift $271 million from DHS, including $155 million from FEMA's disaster relief fund, to pay for detaining and transporting undocumented immigrants. Less than that was transferred less than the $150 million was transferred, but money was transferred by Donald Trump in 2019 and the Trump administration from the FEMA disaster relief fund to house migrants. So is he then okay with moving disaster relief funds for dealing with migrants, but now is not? Is that what you're saying?
What President Trump didn't do is allow an open border policy for 4 years, allowing nearly 20 million illegal people into the country, stressing our public infrastructure in cities across the country, using taxpayer dollars to fund illegals and put them in luxury hotels like we've seen in New York City, to give them prepaid debit cards to buy clothing and food when the American people are suffering from the worst.
It's okay for Donald Trump to do it. It is not okay for the Biden administration to do it. Caroline, It's okay. Donald Trump did that. Donald Trump did that in 2019, his administration.
President Trump did not allow an invasion of illegal immigrants into our country again and use billions of dollars to fund them in housing, to put them into luxury hotels. What he did do is use federal funding to deport them back to their home countries, which is something that Kamala Harris is refusing to do. And she has still yet to answer the question that if she is elected president in 28 days, what is she going to do with the 20 million illegal people that she has allowed into this country, including the convicted criminals? We know there's 425,000 convicted criminal illegal aliens in this country today. Kamala has yet to say whether or not she will deport them or keep them here and continue to use federal funding to house them and to subsidize their lifestyle on the taxpayer's dime. President Trump won't tolerate that. He's going to launch the largest mass deportation operation in American history, and he will ensure that American citizens are being put first by their federal government, that their tax dollars are going to them in times of need. And this is not the first time we've seen the White House and the Biden-Harris administration botch a crisis. We saw it in Afghanistan. They left Americans behind there. We saw it in East Palestine, Ohio, where Kamala Harris never visited and Joe Biden took months to actually go to tour the devastation from the train derailment. We saw it in Maui, Hawaii, where residents are still saying the federal government was not there to help them. This situation is no different, and we will take the word of residents in North Carolina and Florida and Georgia who have been left behind over the word of this administration, which has repeatedly been caught in lies.
Also, the word of a Republican member of Congress who says that these rumors that Donald Trump has been pushing, in part, the things he's been saying is not true. You say that you haven't heard Kamala Harris answer a question. I'm just going to leave it here. But I'm not hearing you answer the question of why it was okay for the Trump administration to use disaster relief funds in order to deal with migrants in 2019, and it is now completely not okay and something he's hitting the administration on now. We're going to leave it there because I offered you 3 times to give me the answer, and I'm not getting it. We'll talk more.